I will call this meeting of the Washera County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zone administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the application. You may stay and hear how the application is decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decision. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of the decision can sign the sheet on the table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each applicant is as follows. After each application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. All correspondences will then be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone up at the front by the podium, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. Because of the number of applicants tonight, I am asking that all testimony be kept brief and to the point. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present information on their application other than questions from the committee. Anyone else wishing to speak should limit their testimony to 3 minutes, and any rebuttal by the applicant will also be limited to 3 minutes. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at the property, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my left, Mike Kapp, Patrick King, Carl Grissar, Jerry Lauer, Todd Waller, zoning administrator, Cindy Rettler is acting as the secretary tonight, and I am Robert Wadle, the Planning and Zoning Committee chairperson. The first item on the agenda, and the only one, is a zone change for Rose's Enchanted Forest Campground, LLC, Wild Rose. They have made an application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138, 58-451, and 58-361 of the Washera County Zoning Code from AG, General Ag, to OP, Parks and Recreation, to expand an existing 31-acre campground by 42.29 acres for an additional 100 new campsites with full hookup to septic, well, and electric, also including an 80-foot strip of land for access on the south end of the existing campground with the shoreline, within the shoreline area. Location, an approximate 40-acre parcel of land known as part of Government Lot 2 and an 80-foot strip of land at the north end of an approximate 34 acres of land known as part of Government Lot 1, Section 26, Town 20 North, Range 11 East, Coosa Lake, Town of Springwater, Archer Avenue. Are the applicants here? Please come forward. And give us a brief summary of what you're up to out there.
So we have a currently 71 site campground, very large sites, all seasonal sites. So everybody there brings their trailer in and keeps it there until they either buy a new one or leave the campground permanently. We have some residents, there's some campers that have been there 40-plus years. Our sites are large. This is a business plan we intend to keep, but what we'd like to do is expand so that it creates enough income for us to be able to sustain the business and ourselves without having to work outside the home. Right now, my husband and I currently work full-time outside of the home in addition to the campground.
Okay, the committee may have some questions this time. Mike, Pat, Carl, Jerry?
No, I have none.
None? Okay, I've got just a couple. Are you sure that this 80-foot easement or whatever it is that been surveyed out so you know exactly where the lines are?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and have you talked to the town board yet of Springwater?
We were not invited to Monday's meeting. We weren't aware that we were on the agenda for Monday, or we certainly would have been there.
You have to ask to be on the agenda, I believe.
Yeah, we were on the agenda. They never asked us.
Oh.
So I don't know how that worked, but we will be at the next meeting on August 10th. I did speak with Everett last night about this and kind of laid out our plans, and
Okay, have you talked to any of the neighbors?
I have not talked to any of the neighbors.
Okay. Staff reports.
Well, actually, I've got some correspondence.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Nope,
Jumped-
that's all right.
Jumped ahead.
That's okay. I do have several letters.
You can take a seat for a minute if you'd like.
I have several letters that the county has received. I'm going to read them in the order that they were received. Please bear with me, a couple of these are rather lengthy, but I do want to read them into the record. The first is dated Monday, July 13th. It was an email to Cindy Rettler. To whom it may concern, greetings. I was given word by our cottage neighbors on Coosel Lake that there's a campground by the name of Rose's Enchanted Forest Campground nearby looking to rezone land and expand their grounds to a large chunk of land on or nearby Wilson Lake. I wish to point out to you my concerns on how that would absolutely ruin the serenity and quality of the beautiful environment that we currently have here on both Wilson and Coosel Lakes. Following, the campground to rezone its land and expand to such a large size will, without question, do the following. Water traffic. It is my concern that allowing this expansion would ruin the tranquility of our peaceful lakes, which are already busy enough today. It will bring more traffic out of our small, already crowded lakes. With the south end of Coosel Lake being bought up by out-of-towners who bring several of their own water vehicles as it is, the activity on the lakes has already increased tenfold over the last few years. Why create a climate that would increase this even more? Please understand that the residents of Wilson and Coosel Lake come up for peace and quiet. Allowing more people with more vehicles in tow take away from the serenity and beauty of our lakes. When one lake is full of boaters, the other lake serves as an overflow of sorts. People will leave the more crowded lake and cross Highway H to attend the less busy one, which in turn ruins the peacefulness of the other lake. If both lakes are packed with boaters, then what? Given the current no-wake policy on both our lakes, how often do you think those who come from out of town would obey the rules set down by the DNR? Spoiler alert, they don't. People already ignore this wake rule as it is today. Is the county prepared to have DNR on our lakes daily to enforce the rules of our lakes? Many visitors disregard the rules that we have on our lakes. Therefore, this disrespects everyone else on the lake who have the respect and decency to follow the rules set forth. Are you ready for the influx of calls and complaints regarding these issues? Foot traffic. There are plenty of people who already walk and bike along Highway H and Archer Lane for enjoyment. Why increase the density of people where more accidents would happen? County Road H is not exactly the safest road to walk along, given it does have some hidden spots, such as hidden driveways that people already speed past, plus narrow roads for two cars, or even trucks pulling large campers and trailers, plus pedestrians to pass each other safely. The road is not up to par to handle the increase of traffic, plus foot traffic, as there is no safe place to walk along these roads. Crossing the roads at hidden points, such as hills or curves, is dangerous for all around. This expansion would bring more people walking the roads that are not safe enough. Vehicle traffic. It goes without saying that with the increase of people comes the increase of traffic, loud pipes, revving engines, additional traffic up and down Highway H leads to more noise pollution, light pollution, and added environmental pollution. Again, all things that we came up to Coosel and Wilson Lakes to get away from. Additional concerns. Along with the increase of people also comes crime and people's disrespects of other people's property. Please take a moment to think about that and add in the current climate of today's political strife we see in larger cities. I live in the Milwaukee area. I come up north to escape the tensions that currently grip our cities within our nation. Do you want that here? Allowing this one location to expand would open the door for possibly more expansion requests for other campgrounds, which leads to more people and an increase of other items mentioned above. Allowing this expansion would only create a need for more things, stores, gas stations, busy city life that we come up here to leave behind. More noise pollution and waste as well. Given that we are all here in the small area, have all the residents of Kusel and Lake been notified of the rezoning expansion requests? This affects everyone on both lakes, not just a small part of the population. Everyone who will be touched by the imposing change needs to be made aware so that they can voice their opinion. This is our land, our peace, and our privacy that is being invaded by this project if it's allowed to proceed. Please pause for one moment and put yourself in the citizen's shoes. Would this be something you would want on your back doorstep? Is this something you would be willing to put up with if you were one of us so close to the proposed expansion? Quiet, peaceful citizens make a happy, healthy, and high-quality community, the way we are today. Disruptions to this cause chaos and unhappy folk. The expansion that would affect both Peaceful Lakes is not welcomed by current residents. I may seem redundant in some of my points above. Please forgive me. That is because it is a really big deal and will honestly change the environment of the area, quite possibly for the worst. I absolutely oppose the expansion of the campground for all the reasons above. I implore you to consider the risks and benefit, if any benefit at all, of this rezoning and expansion request. Thank you for your time and consideration in reading this letter, and thank you for your time to review the situation. I beg you to make the right choice in this matter, opposing the rezoning and expansion requests of Rose's Campground. I'd be happy to discuss any issues, concerns listed above with you, and if you see the need, please feel free to contact me respectfully, Stephanie Adamak. And excuse me. I feel like I'm reading Moby Dick. Okay. The second letter dated July 13th from Julie Anderson. Hello, Cynthia. It came to our attention over the weekend that Rose's Enchanted Campground is proposing adding 100 additional campsites. It seems Evergreen wanted to do something similar in recent past and was shot down. Aren't six campgrounds in the nearby area enough? If you let one expand, the rest will want to follow suit. We're writing to express our concern about additional traffic on the roads as well as the area lakes and county park. Some of our family went to use the free beach at the park on Kusel Lake, and it was too crowded for them to safely use. Adding more campers to this area will only stress things further. Our lot is very close to the street, and vehicles, campers, and large trucks that supply the campgrounds fly through there, ignoring the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I'm concerned for children and pets near the roadway. We already feel unsafe walking our dog along the road after almost being hit by large campers, especially when they are trying to pass each other. They come within inches of us who are trying to walk or ride bikes. Some don't even bother to slow down. We are third-generation property owners. What we love about this area is the quiet enjoyment of the lake and the surrounding area. We moved here to get away from the populated areas and high traffic. We pay the taxes that support the area and feel people who don't live here don't have the same appreciation and respect. The small economic boost this may provide is on the back of the taxpayers. Our lake is already crowded with boating traffic. We don't need or want any more than we already have. Approving this opens the door for other campgrounds to want to do the same. We strongly against it and oppose the addition of any sites to any of the area campgrounds. We feel this move would cause more strain on area resources, lakes, roads, parks, and the maintenance involved. We haven't mentioned our concern about the spread of COVID-19 from guests coming in from all over the region. We talked with other neighbors who feel the same but don't live up here full-time and aren't able to attend local meetings. Please consider this in your decision, and thank you for your consideration. P.S. We're opposed to any storage facilities at the end of Archer Lane due to high traffic volume that this creates. Sincerely, Brant and Julie Anderson. Next letter dated also Monday, July 13th, to Cindy Rettler from Joseph Emlano. Cynthia, my name is Joseph Emlano. I'm a homeowner in Wild Rose near Wilson and Coosa Lake near the proposed Roses Enchanted Forest campground expansion. I would like to express my opposition to the expansion of Roses Enchanted Forest campground in Wild Rose, which will be discussed in the public hearing meeting on Thursday, 7/16, for a zone change. See below. And then basically they've just cited the notice of public hearing. I cannot attend, but I am strongly opposed to the expansions. Reason why I oppose are increased land traffic on both Highway A and on Archer Lane. Though the entrance for Roses is on Highway A, there will be an increase in traffic on the surrounding roads as people accessing adjacent lakes and boat traffic landings. Not only will traffic increase, but it will also consist of large trailers and boat trailers, which are large for our narrow roads, which will cause problems or accidents with people either walking, biking, or traveling in the area. Increased boat traffic on Wilson and Coosa Lake if the camp is expanded. Currently, there is no wake ordinance on Coosa Lake, but that does not stop people from creating wakes, either because they don't know or they just don't care. Most of the people breaking this ordinance are non-Coosa Lake residents. I and other homeowners have lost shoreline and spent thousands to save what we have due to the people breaking this ordinance. Increased traffic on the nearby lake will further damage the shorelines with the increase in boat traffic. With the increased land and boat traffic will come litter, pollution, and waste. I have seen multiple RVs in the area driving with their black and gray water tank drains open as weekend RVers attempt to fully drain their tanks after using the dump station at one of the local campgrounds. Noise pollution. I am on the opposite side of the lake than Evergreen campsite and can hear the crowd during the busy weekends. The expansion of Roses Enchanted Forest campground will place this campground physically closer than Evergreen, which will result in additional noise pollution from the increased number of people. Decrease in animal habitat. I enjoy having the local wildlife, but more campsites would mean less habitat and less animals in the area, as there will be constant traffic and people in that area. The local residents of both Wilson and Coosa Lake should be informed of this zone change request and given a chance to voice their opinion. I am disappointed they had to hear about this from a neighbor only days before the scheduled meeting. Please consider forming all residences near Wilson and Coosa Lakes, as this will affect all of them to some degree. Joseph Emlano. Next letter is from the town of Springwater. It's dated July 14th from Everett Eckstein, the chairman for the town of Springwater Board. It's addressed to the Waushara County Zoning. The town of Springwater Board would like to table any opinion on the zone change until the Roses bring a detailed plan for their expansion to the board to see, including access points to the new park area. The board cannot make a decision until they see just what is planned. Thank you, Everett Eckstein. Second to last letter from Tammy Kuchler, dated July 15th. Good morning, Cynthia. I am writing to express my vehement opposition to the proposed rezoning of a 40-acre plot along Archer Road and expansion of the existing Rose Campground in Waushara County. I live on Archer Road on the west end of Coosa Lake, so I realize that the water traffic theoretically should impact Wilson Lake owners and not us, but I beg to differ on several levels. 100 campsites would theoretically increase the population in the area between 200 and 500 people or more for at least 6 months of the year. While there is only a proposed fire lane access to Archer Road, all these people will be out riding bikes, walking, jogging, etc. down that fire lane to Archer Road to be able to enjoy the area without going onto the busy Highway A to the north. Archer Road is narrower and more dangerous to this kind of traffic. Most cars do not obey the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. They try to get around bikes, walkers, and usually with a car coming from the other direction, the situation is not safe and in fact quite concerning. I actually went out and bought a bright yellow vest to wear while walking or biking during the day to increase visibility for my own safety. My belief is that between the existing Rose Campground and currently being renovated Wilson Lake Campground, there are plenty of camping opportunities already on Wilson Lake. Evergreen Campgrounds on Kusel is huge and has many opportunities for permanent sites, big RV sites, tent, and pop-up camping, as well as cabins and the entire houses to rent. There is also Oakwood campsites, as well as the campgrounds on Little Silver Lake, all within just a couple miles of each other. There are really no need for any more camping opportunities in this area, let alone 100 more campsites. Also, water traffic. None of the 3 lakes I listed above are large lakes, and with today's engines on the boats, when a wake was approved, they could get access to the lake in literally seconds. Get more and more or 2 boats on a lake, driving like that is a recipe for disaster. That is why I would like these lakes to remain no-wake lakes completely, but that's another argument for another day, ha ha. But again, more people means more boat traffic on both lakes. Continued development of this area will degrade the quality of life that people that own, rent, and even camp there. It's a slippery slope to turning our beautiful rural area into a commercialized suburb of Wapaka. Please pass my thoughts and comments on to the appropriate people, and thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Tammy Kuchler. Oops, sorry, 2 more letters. July 15th, from Mark Kuchler to Cindy Retler. Hello, Cynthia. We have a lake cottage on Archer Road on Kusel Lake. I am writing to express my 100% disgust and disapproval to the rezoning of any sort of expansions to an existing campground or property in any way that will increase the already overcrowded conditions in our area in any way, mainly lake and boating traffic as well as road traffic. Also, I think this needs to have the brakes put on this immediately and allow time for all property owners to hopefully be notified in the area, especially around Kusel and Wilson Lakes, which this will affect the most. None that I talked to had a clue that was going on, both Wilson and Kusel Lake, and all were basically not happy about the news either. Only a week notice to a handful of people within 300 feet of proposed expansion is completely wrong. This zoning proposal and/or current possible expansion of existing campgrounds is going to affect hundreds of the lakes and nearby property owners. It may have followed normal protocol and so on, but it's not fair or near enough time on this matter. This one property owner, Rose, looking to, or did, land grab and bring in several hundred more people into the immediate area could affect hundreds of currently high tax-paying existing lake property owners in a negative way. It's not right all around. As of now, with the already way oversized Evergreen Campground, a county park, 2 campgrounds on Wilson, Oakwood, Fox, Nappawan, and possibly others, there is too much boat and vehicle traffic through the summer camping months. Archer Road is very narrow, has hidden curves and somewhat beat up, making it pretty dangerous, especially to walkers, runners, and bikers. Recently, my wife and I were riding along it around the corners where Wilson and Kusel nearly touch. A biker was coming from the other way, kids and adults were all around the properties, and someone with a truck decides he wants to hurry through it all. He weaves around one bike and between us and the bike, and with the kids standing near the road, and he was going faster than 25, and then quickly accelerates even faster when he got through, heading into the next dangerous turn. People were pissed that were right there, to say the least. Last year, someone must have lost control and spun into a big tree by my driveway, taking out the fire and address sign, damaging a huge pine tree that stopped the vehicle with glass spread all over from the impact. Too much traffic, and they don't follow the slower speed limits already. As far as the lake boating is already too much, we have about 3 summers ago when there was still a wake. At that time, I was very discouraged how many boats would dump into the lake during the summer on weekends, especially, most coming from Evergreen. It helps that a no wake has been put on Kusel. I already have too much property damage from high water and large boating waves prior to the no wake restrictions. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Much appreciated. Those 4 or 5 lakes in the immediate area are way too small to allow any more traffic on them. Evergreen allows for way too many boats to be brought in the way as it is. Then there's the public landing. Wilson also has at least 2 current boat launches I know of. Maybe more by the campgrounds I don't know about. Adding more campsites to the existing Old Patzlers and possibly Roses is a terrible and unfair situation. Overflow traffic on one lake will result in people going to the next lake. Today's boats are way too big and powerful for these small lakes. Any more than 4 or 5 speedboats on a lake at any one time is too many. Excuse me. I wish there were limits to the amount of boats as well as horsepower. Back in my day, a 50 horsepower motor was big and that was used to pull skiers. Now it's a small motor and the boats are huge and heavy. Also adding to Rose's new land purchase, even though the only entrance would remain on Highway A, it still would be for sure filter their campers to the back end of their land and onto Archer Lane. Not to sound selfish, but we do not need any more people in the area. Allow us to have what we want and why we are here. You are not taking anything away from anything that isn't here yet. We and all others I've talked to about this have come up here and live because of its current beautiful setting. That is what our area in Waushara County is all about. That's what adds to the value of our lake and the quality of living. Please don't add any more congestion and destruction to the land of our area. Please don't allow property owners to take down trees without replanting unnecessarily. Let's not urbanize it. I and others don't want to see it look like metropolitan area. Also, I have another major concern should this rezoning be allowed, or even adding existing spaces to current campground in the immediate area. My concern is others will want to follow suit, possibly buying up more land for development and expanding and overcrowding even more their current space. This would also entice the moving forward of possible storage units on Archer Road near the Evergreen campsites. And I'm aware has already been approved. Evergreen, already put up an unsightly storage unit on that corner just to squeeze more income in without respect for all of us to have to look at it. The last thing we want to look at is a line of storage units and the additional traffic of craziness on that road. They belong in industrial-looking areas. Adding more easily available boat storage is not a good idea. More people will have boats up here as well as purchase boats because it will be easy to launch and store them in our backyards and flood our lakes. Please help all the other property owners and say no to this and any future ideas anyone may have to destroy the beauty, lower our property values, and add congestion. Our resources are exhausted already. This is not to sound selfish, but it is for respect to those property owners already here for the reasons they are here. Just way too many reasons to not allow this at all. 0% growth. Make a statement to future developers and stop it now, please. I am happy for any further conversation to anyone involved that may want. Also, please feel free to share or read this to those at the meeting. Thanks, Mark Kuchler. And lastly, email from Thursday, July 16th. Hello, Cynthia. I received this email from Roses last night, and so did one of my neighbors that I know of, maybe more. I'm glad I notified a handful. No one knew a thing about this. I didn't realize you send letters directly to the source. I thought it was for a board and supervisors to review. I guess it's fine as I can't make that meeting, so at least my voice was heard. I will, however, make the next meeting should there be one, and I know more in advance. Hopefully the issue got tabled in the Monday county meeting. I'm getting a copy of the minutes from Vicki when they get finished, so I'll know then. Tonight, I had obligations with the daughter and granddaughter. I can't see canceling that for a meeting. I don't know if I'd be able to get into the seating restrictions. Anyways, I do not plan to call Kim back at this time. Nothing will change my mind about any growth or expansions in our immediate area. Any feedback, again, is appreciated. Thanks, Mark Kuchler. And that's it.
Okay, you have some people wishing to speak?
I do. Wishing to speak in favor is Thomas Edgren.
Thomas Edgren, Representative Edgren Living Trust. We have property to the east of theirs. In fact, we sold the 40 acres to the Roses. They informed me of their plans, what they wanted to do. He showed me around his campsite, what he already has. You can't even see his campsite from County A, except for his sign and his gravel driveway. His intentions are to do the same with the rest of the sites, in the middle of the woods. You won't see from Archer, you won't see from County A. He showed me his beach. There's no plans for expansion of his beach, and he has rental boats and such like that there. 60-plus years ago, or almost 70, my grandfather, Philip Chase, developed that area. He built Evergreen Campsite, Springwater Resort, sold several lots around both lakes for vacation cottages. My dad actually built a lot of those cottages. Throughout the years, they've changed hands. People have turned them into full-time residents, trying to return it into a retirement community, knowing that this is a resort and vacation area. So I am in favor of what the Roses want to do with their campsite. I do not see any increased traffic on Archer Lane, as their entrance is on County A. And now it's brought to my attention County H, which is several more miles even further away from.
That was stated in the letter.
Right.
but-
As far as increased people on Coos Lake, how can you control that? There's a county park there. It's free to everybody to come and use. And people have visitors come to their cabins. The campsite, like I said, has its own beach. The additions of the sites will generate revenue not only for the town of Springwater, but Waushara County and many local businesses. I do believe that the taxes are taxed differently from agricultural to park and recreation, which means more money generated for township and county. I myself have benefited from campers and people up in the Wild Rose area vacation. I own a small business, and people have broken down with their vehicles, and I fix them so they can get home. Permanent sites, seasonal sites, I do not see the increase of traffic of people coming and going on a daily or weekly, camping trip. And most people that camp are coming up to sit back and relax. They're not out to rape and pillage and, break into people's houses and cottages and stuff. They're up there to relax. So,
Okay, could you
they're
Could
just,
you summarize it up? Your time is
Yep.
about up.
So like I said, I'm in
Okay.
favor of it, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Next one.
Okay, have a gentleman registered to speak in opposition, Travis Heinz.
Yes, hello, I'm Travis Heinz. I have a cottage that's about 400 feet to the east of the Roses. I'm not gonna rehash everything that was in the letters already. I pretty much echo all the neighbors. I was not notified of this until, last weekend, again, through, people talking on the lake. I do see this as reducing our property values by increasing the number of campsites on that site and also all the camping around that area. Wilson Lake is only a 75-acre lake, so it is a very small lake. There are already about, I think we counted like 15 boats already at the Roses. A lot of them do not follow a lot of the water regulations there, so they go in opposite directions of the traffic and don't follow a lot of the rules. There's also quite a bit of noise on the weekends, so I can definitely see an increase in noise on the weekends. And also there have been incidences of harassment on the lake where campers have gone out to the docks and have yelled at the residents on the lake as well. So I can just see that increasing because they don't own the property like we own the property. So with that, I do oppose it.
Okay, thank you. Next one.
Okay, and lastly, have a gentleman registered in opposition but doesn't wish to speak. It's Jason Kopsel, Koepsell, Kopsel.
Okay, any requests in favor?
That's, I already read it, that was Mr. Edgren.
Okay. All right, comment, on-site comments?
Okay. Everyone should have a copy of the staff report in front of you, which summarizes the applicant's request. It gives a little bit of history about the project. With regard to the on-site comments, the committee visited the property at the recent on-site on Wednesday, July 15th, and was generally not opposed to the applicant's development proposal. They felt that it was in keeping with the area and was a logical expansion of an existing campground. The committee was also comfortable with the fact that development was to occur over the next several years. They were, however, concerned that the town has expressed some reservation and felt that this request should be tabled until such time that the town of Springwater has an opportunity to discuss the development proposal with the applicants and review all submitted documents. It's always been the county's position to support and uphold the town's requests and recommendations, especially when it comes to land uses. While staff is generally supportive of expansions of existing businesses, and I know that this committee will be making a recommendation later in the evening, staff is recommending tabling the zone change request from AG General Agricultural to OP Parks and Recreation for Rose's Enchanted Forest Campground to allow the applicant adequate time to get before the next town board meeting for the town of Springwater, and I believe that's August 10th.
Did the property owners have anything further to ask or rebuttal? Come up to the microphone then and try to keep it brief if you can. I mean,
I want to say, we are an all-seasonal campground, so we don't have those trailers and trucks coming and going every weekend like some of the other campgrounds in the area. We feel the lake usage will go up a bit, I'm sure, as with any visitors that come into the area. But we also intend to add a swim pond onto the land eventually so that we pull some of that usage off of that lake. Again, the entrance to the campground is not on Archer, it is on County A. That is intended to stay that way. That exit onto Archer is an emergency exit only. My seasonals treat their sites like they own them. They respect the property. Most of them stay right on grounds when they're there. They don't go walking down the roads. They have 32 acres right now to walk on. With the additional 42.29 acres, now they'll have 75 acres to walk on. The additional benefits of the additional taxes has already been covered. My campers use a lot of the local establishments, the restaurants, the gas stations, those types of things. You did cover that we are not planning to add all 100 sites this moment or next year or over the next 10 years. This is going to be incremental as time and money and demand allows. We are a mom and pop operation. I don't have very deep pockets, so adding 5 to 10 sites a year is a big stretch for us. Our plan is to leave a good-sized buffer around the entire property so that you really don't know we're there. And the expansion will begin at the far, it would be back northwest corner where it joins to our existing campground, and we'll move into the 40 acres from there. Right now, I'm getting weekly calls looking for sites. The demand is out there. I belong to an association called Wisconsin Association of Campground Owners. Excuse me, I'm getting over some bronchitis. They have told us all in our meetings that there's a shortage of campsites in the state of Wisconsin. We love this area. All we want to do is share what we have with others. And I have, no disrespect to Evergreen, but we're not Evergreen. We're a completely different business model. The usage of the lake is controlled right now by the number of slips we allowed. We have a limited lake frontage. I do allow some of my campers to keep boats there. Those that don't have a boat on that lake, I think I have one other camper that brings a boat. And he typically fishes on other lakes. I don't have a lot of extra boat traffic. I guess, do you have any further questions for us?
not at this time.
Okay.
Committee has anything? No. All right,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for your time.
Okay, we'll move into our business meeting. Call this meeting to order. We've read and heard the public hearing application. Roll call show that all members are present. I'll ask for approval of the agenda as